talk facilitation, Jerry.
Yeah. Hey, I put the fun in dysfunction, man.
Everything in facilitation is designed to reduce dysfunction
And increase consensus. Does my head look fat? I'm backing up now. Whoa, dude. That was a facilitation fail.
Consensus is?
I can live with it and support it. That's
All
the
right,
thing I'm going to get a tattoo of right there.
Here we go. Facilitation straight talk.
Boom.
Boom.
We're going to deep dive from our first video now and talk about people and process. And what we mean when we say facilitation is about people and process. One of the common discussions I get into when I'm talking to people about the course is, what do I need facilitation for? I've even heard some guys say, well, that's pretty touchy-feely stuff. I've got leadership skills. I can give people directions and I know how to supervise. I also already have the processes I need, the outputs that I desire. So why do I need facilitation? I think in this video, we'll show you that facilitation is not meant to replace anything. It's actually additive, supporting fires, as we like to say in the Marine Corps. So by the end of this video, you'll have a greater appreciation of facilitation skills and where they might bridge a gap in your leadership toolkit and your ability to lead groups to produce.
I really feel like saying boom right here. All right, so a facilitator has two goals or dual tracks. The first goal or track is to take a group of people from data, thoughts, opinions, and bring them into a coherent, finished product or products. The second goal or track is to take that same group of individuals and form them into a collaborative team. And that's what's missing most often in government and military environments. There's a common misconception that left to its own devices, a group will eventually naturally evolve into a collaborative team. False. Dominant voices usually are dominant. Working on a problem sometimes will further divide existing cracks in the group, or they'll suffer from groupthink and confirmation bias. What a group needs, more often than not, is a group guide, a group motivator, and somebody who's socially adept, which happens to be guide, motivator, social adept, the three primary roles of a facilitator. Using those three, the facilitator gets consensus, changes from the win-lose situation to a win-win, and also to achieve consensus and buy-in. We have an entire class in our course devoted to consensus and decision-making.
Yeah, because even in the government and the military environments, buy-in, inclusion, empowerment, these are big-time force multipliers for decisions. When a group goes into a meeting and they've worked on a problem together and they come up with a solution together and you truly get to consensus, they're going to walk out of that meeting supporting the solution that they came up with. Lots of us have walked out of meetings before and seen our coworkers down the hall saying, that's not going to work. We try to teach in our course how to keep that from happening.
So what constitutes a facilitated session? What are the key ingredients? Well, one, you're going to have a facilitator who is a content neutral task leader that does that guide, motivator, social adept that we talked about just a second ago. You also need a group of participants. But then the other thing that every facilitated session needs is a purpose and a product. And more often than not, you're going to have a sponsor that's going to give you that purpose and product. In our facilitation for the government military course, we have a class specifically on detailed guidelines and our recommendations on when to facilitate and when not to, and also potentially the unique aspects of facilitating in government and military environments. But generally speaking, for this video, a group of people that have a purpose, that need to create some kind of output or some kind of decision, you can turn that into a facilitated session.
Exactly. So let's talk about the process side for a second. The government and military already has standard processes. So what do they need facilitation for? The military is very familiar with planning processes. In the Marine Corps, we use McPP. But like we said previously, facilitation is just supporting fires. It doesn't replace that process. It's a layer over the top. With some planning processes, you could use facilitation skills from the start all the way to the finish. Or maybe you just want to take one step, say problem framing. There's one obvious caveat here. For you Marines that have been on the MEU and you're more familiar with their R2P2 or the rapid response planning process, which is basically tactical planning, facilitation skills may not work there. As we learn in the course, to have a proper facilitated session, you need to have time, energy, and manpower to use facilitation. Personal example from the Corps, and I've seen this a lot in my career, is that we thrive in combat. We adapted, we overcome, and we accomplish those missions all the time. But sometimes when we got back to garrison, we struggled. We struggled to solve very simple problems. At the strategic and operational command, where we have plenty of time and energy and manpower to facilitate, facilitation skills will really come in handy.
So another common theme that Jerry and I run into is, well, wait, I use Agile, Scrum, design methodologies. So I'm already in the government military and tapping into new private sector processes. So what do I need facilitation skills for? Again, Jerry and I see facilitation as supporting fires. I am a huge proponent of human-centered design, Agile Scrum. I used it and promoted it while in uniform. However, it's process. Facilitation is, as we've been hammering home here, people and process. You can turn any design or agile session into a facilitated session and apply facilitation skills to it. From my own personal experience, some of the worst offenders of people who call themselves quote unquote facilitators, but then produce facilitation fail after facilitation fail, have been design and agile practitioners. So let me summarize this segment on process. You may be a master of process, whether it be the planning process, agile, whatever, but these process skills do not automatically translate into the people skills or the other half of the dual track.
Yeah, let's talk about the people side of facilitation, and then we can wrap this video up. Sometimes people call people skills soft skills. That makes me laugh. I love a quote by our sensei and mentor, Gary Rush, that Aaron talked about in the first video. He often says stuff like soft skills, geez, they should be called hard skills because people are difficult to work with. This is a really nice way of saying it. It's one of my favorite parts of the course. I know it's Aaron's too. When we teach our class on dysfunction, we like to say, let's put some fun in dysfunction. And students spend a lot of time laughing about the different types of dysfunctional people that we engage with in meetings. The loudmouth, the storyteller, the doubting Thomas. As I say these, even if you haven't been through the course, in your mind, you're thinking of somebody right now that fits that. And that's funny. But what isn't funny, and we've all been through this, is when you sit through meetings and somebody actually plays one of those roles. When someone starts their comments with back in 1775, and we all feel like our life draining out of our body. Well, we teach techniques on how to deal with people like that and how to keep your life inside your body.
As a social adept, a facilitator is always going to be on the lookout with their ears and with their eyes for early signs of dysfunction. And as a facilitator, you're going to have your immediate action drills, that I like to call them, prepared for the storyteller, the loudmouth, the broken record, etc. And you're also going to have mitigation strategies in place if the immediate action doesn't work. But here's what I think is one of the golden nuggets of facilitation. From start to finish, from facilitation preparation, to building an agenda, to starting a session, to using what we like to call facilitation tactics, techniques, and procedures, or TTP, is that everything in facilitation is designed to reduce dysfunction
and increase consensus.
We'll say it one more time. Right. Everything in facilitation is designed to reduce dysfunction
and increase consensus.
One final word on people and processes. Not all facilitation related training is created equal. Some companies out there will overemphasize process. I kind of liken it to those YouTube videos you see where it's like, okay, get rich quick. Somebody's going to try to sell you some magic formula that you can apply to your situation, and all of a sudden now, boom, you're rich. It's the same with facilitation. Every group and problem is different, and so should your facilitation processes and what you take to that meeting. On the other hand, some companies out there, they overemphasize the people side of facilitation. If a group is meeting for a purpose and a product, What must it meet, Jerry? It must meet that purpose and that product. All the people skills in the world won't save you if you have a poor agenda and the wrong process. That's why Jerry and I reinforce facilitation is 50% people and 50% process. A skilled facilitator will use both people skills and process skills to create that environment of collaboration, to form that group into a team, and to achieve consensus on important decision points, and ultimately produce group empowered quality outputs. All right, over to you, Jerry, to close us out.
All right, please remember to like our videos and leave some comments too. We've gotten some really good feedback from the comments. And if you haven't subscribed, hit subscribe now. Boom.
Boom.